Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. So this is the December 9th Hudsonville Board of Education regular meeting this evening. So thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate you being here. We have one absentee this evening, that's Larry Kappinga. Everybody else is present. So before we go forward with approval of the agenda, I would like to pause for a moment to remember the victims in the Oxford school shooting, their families, and all the staff, families, and students at Oxford Public Schools. So if we could just pause for a moment, please. Thank you. Okay, we move on to approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Chad Tuttle. Support by Steve Bowerman. Any questions, comments, clarification on the agenda? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next up, we have student council report. And I think we have any here. Yes, here we go. Good evening.
Is it on? Okay, perfect. Thank you. This past and upcoming week, we've been super busy with student council. Christmas break will be in 1 week, which means we're going to have Spirit Week next week. So Monday we have PJ Day, Tuesday Flannel Day, Wednesday Winter Gear Day, Thursday Ugly Sweater, and Friday Santa Hat Day. Following next Thursday, student council, we are bringing coffee, hot chocolate, donuts to the construction workers outside, just to show our appreciation for them. This week, we've also started a holiday wish, where at lunch we have a drawing of a tree and students come and take a sticky note and put a holiday wish on the tree. To promote that too, we have a jar with a whole bunch of candy in it and people guess, and whoever guesses wins a gift card. So that's been super fun this week. Our committee, my committee, has been working on some ideas for senior bricks because unfortunately this year we're not allowed to do them. We are in the works of something, trying to figure out something fun for seniors to do like this, but I will keep you updated, and that's all I have. Any questions?
Great. I really like the idea of the donuts and coffee, hot chocolate, to the construction workers. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Other questions, comments from the board?
They're excited also, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Annie. We appreciate the update.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a great Christmas.
Thank you. You as well. Let me see. Rebecca, are you taking notes this evening? Can you indicate that Larry is here?
Yes.
I'm assuming you saw him, so he's not absent. He is here. Okay. Thank you. So next we move on to consent agenda items. Consent agenda. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda items?
I'll move that.
Motion by Mark Davis.
Support.
Support from Dawn Sneeden. Questions, comments, clarifications on any of the items in the consent agenda? Okay. I do think we want to pause and recognize that Stephanie Fass, right, is here with us this evening. Yes, right there. So. And there was communication that came out from Doug regarding your joining the team as our new public relations manager. So welcome and great to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, and I look forward to getting to know you all better. I am beyond excited to be a part of such a prestigious team at such an amazing school district. So it's kind of a dream come true. I saw it come out, and I was like, I was born for that job. So I can't tell you how happy I am to be here and to be a part of the team.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, other questions or comments on consent agenda items? Okay, we have a motion, so all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, next we move on to regular action agenda. First up, we have May election resolution. Mr. Beards, are you going to give us an overview?
Yes, thank you, Ken. So, Hudsonville, we, because of the growth of the district, we vote this millage annually. Most districts do this 5, 7, every 10 years. But with the growth, due to our growth, we would lose a lot of money between elections because of this 1970s law. It's the Headley Act. So without getting too into that, so this is something we do every year. This year's election, because of the dates are set in statute. This will be Tuesday, May 3rd. The estimated revenue is actually, if you look on the attached Exhibit A, is $6 million. That is with levying the statutory amount, 18 mills on the non-residential property, which in this our tax world, it's called non-homestead property. So yes, this is we do this each year. And this year's estimated revenue is $6 million. This allows us to collect the complete student foundation allowance. This is the expectation that the local school district will levy this millage, and then the state makes up the rest of this year. Our amount is $8,700 per student. But it's the expectation the school will levy this millage locally, and the state fills in the rest of that $8,700. So, yeah, that's an overview.
A motion, please, to accept the May election resolution as reviewed by Mr. Briggs. Motion by Dawn Sneeden. Support from Chad Tuttle. Questions or comments? Again, not a tax increase, and similar resolution or same that we've done in previous years, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So no changes. Okay, other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next agenda item, action agenda item, is portables bid recommendation. Again, Mr. Briggs.
Thank you. Yes. So the recommendation, I'll go over that first, is to approve the lowest responsible bidder, Thomas Classrooms and Modulars of Belding, Michigan. This is for 2 portable units, total with associated costs. We have to get we have to go through state permitting. $166,420. We opened 2 bids Tuesday. We don't always get a competitive bid in this world, but this time we got another bidder that actually doesn't sell refurbished portable units. They only sell new. That's why you'll notice in the bid tabulation, their price is roughly twice as much. We have these portables, and it's the same exterior structure that we have at Baldwin and Georgetown. And we have 2. It's going to be a very similar configuration, sitting next to each other. Just these, we need them for administrative offices and office meeting space. There are too many times, especially with the finance and soon the HR office, using a meeting room pretty much 3 days a week for software training. We're just crowding people out. There are days we're using hallways, the cafeteria, both meeting rooms downstairs, and usually some of the larger offices upstairs are doubled up just for meeting rooms alone. We have some places where we have 4 people assigned to a single office space right now. They're not all central, what I would call like a central office employee like myself. There are more people that are in district-wide positions that 5 hires ago we were out of space, and it's just the need. The positions like the district-wide curriculum curriculum coaches, the district-wide technology. We know district our size, that's one-to-one, we need a technology coordinator. Just positions like that, a PR coordinator, we were out of space a long time ago. The building was built in size for what we had, and we could see in 1999, and it just looks different now. So it's time, and these are obviously not a permanent solution, but it should be a, if it needed to be a 3 to 5 year solution, but it definitely will get us by for a couple of years. We still need to purchase furniture for the space. We have some furniture. We're gonna work more with the people in those spaces to see what's gonna fit the best. We have some extra conference tables in our building and some extra chairs to get us going. But yes, that's a recommendation to purchase those 2 portable offices, portable buildings that we will make into offices at some point in the future. If we would ever need to use those for portable classrooms like we're doing at Bauer in Georgetown, it's the same building. We could do that. So it gives us flexibility for the future. And just a note, we can't purchase these with bond funds, so the sinking fund is where we've purchased the previous 4 units from. So that's my recommendation, is to purchase these also from the sinking fund.
You can have a motion, please, that the board approve the recommendation to award the bid for portables to Thompson's Classrooms and Modulars in the amount of $166,420 as presented by Pat Briggs.
So moved.
Motion by Barb Hooper, and support from Larry Kapinka. Questions for Pat?
Will this require the cement pad again?
Yes, we have a plan to be to the south, to connect along the fence, the current fence line, the shadow box fence there, connect along that fence, get out to the parking lot. Yes, but we'll need, and we'll probably put some kind of a path, walkway, so people can get directly into the building from there. And they could also access the parking lot. They can walk from the parking lot up to the building, so they have to go through the building.
So specifically to answer your question, the question was, will it require a cement slab? It will for the portables to rest on, but also from an ADA standpoint, sidewalk that'll be connecting to the sidewalk near the bus loop of Park Elementary, and then wooden walkway, if you will, between the 2 portables into that door that's halfway down the stairs. And you're going from upstairs to downstairs. That makes sense. No restrooms in either one. They'll come inside and use the restrooms either upstairs or downstairs.
Pat, how quickly can this be done since you're so tight for space? And you've been tight for space for quite a
Yes.
while. Do we have to wait till spring with it getting cold now, or can this be done? during the
OAK
winter season?
has assured us they can get footings in. Excuse me. Our larger holdup, because Thomas has these units. They have to do a little bit with them, but they already have them. Our biggest holdup is permitting. It's just that process at the state is not quick. So, I mean, I work with an eternal optimist that thinks it can be done in 2 months, most likely 3.
So 3 months out before they're there and
Placed, yes.
okay. Yeah, it's a great question because they have been operating
Quite a while.
for too long.
So I appreciate that it's an appropriate near term, it's an economical solution, but I'd encourage us, let's come up with a long-term plan.
Absolutely.
Let's not, plan for 3 to 5 years if we can have a plan in a year or 2 and be moving forward with that.
It definitely needs to roll into our master plan for.
I think the idea is to have deeper discussions regarding that as we progress through the current bond issue. Once we know what is needed for, we still have to do major renovations to Park Elementary and Bauer Elementary, and those are our priorities once the other buildings are complete.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. All in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you, Pat. Okay, action item number 3, board policy edition, third reading. This is in your packet. We have revisited and revised this a couple times now. So I'll start with a motion that the board approve the third and final reading of the board policy 2240, controversial issues as suggested by the policy committee and presented by Dr. Vanderjack. Motion, please.
So moved.
Motion by Chad Tuttle, support from Steve Bowerman. Anything you want to add or clarify?
Yeah, there were no recommended changes from the second reading until now. So there's nothing different from what you saw the last time to this time.
Questions, comments? From the board?
Just what kind of practical changes will this make in the way we do our work here at the school?
I think that's a great question. So the question is what kind of practical changes would it make in what we do here at the school? And I would say this streamlines the rest of the policies when it comes to issues that are brought before the administration or the board to make sure they follow and direct with the rest of the policies. So I would say the practices wouldn't change other than we now have them streamlined with the rest of the policies if parents have questions or concerns regarding controversial issues that take place in the classroom. I hope that answered the question.
Not really, but I don't have any problem with policies I'm reading here. I just wonder about the necessity of policy. I just don't want to pile up policies if they aren't doing anything, if it isn't changing anything.
I would say that this policy strengthens the expectations that we have that issues that are taught in the classroom follow with the expectations that the board has.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but is this not part of one of the suggested policies that Neola
It is.
presents typically?
It is.
And is this policy referenced with other policies? And prior to adoption of this, we were referencing a policy that didn't exist?
That is correct.
Okay.
So when the policies were originally adopted 5-6 years before I got here,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a policy that referenced this policy, and this policy did not exist. So there were multiple. You could either get rid of the other policy, but then that was referenced in a different policy, or adopt a policy and word it in a way that we believe fits the expectations of the board and our teaching staff and administration.
And this is something that we can monitor as we go forward and
Yes.
Understand, how many such issues we're dealing with and so forth. So,
Absolutely. When it comes to policy, there are always policies that we bring before the board, and there's always policies that the board can ask for us to reevaluate and go from there. So absolutely.
Yeah, so this would be one we want to, sorry, Mark.
So controversial, that's in the eye of the beholder? I mean, what makes it controversial?
I don't know.
No? Okay. I'm fine.
Okay. Other questions or comments from the board? Okay, we have a motion on the table. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, next we move on to advanced narrative composition course proposal. This is the second reading of this. Again, we had a chance to talk about this in a previous meeting. So we'll start. Can I have a motion, please, that the board approve the second and final reading of a high school course proposal for advanced narrative composition as recommended by the curriculum committee and presented by Amy Taylor.
So moved.
Motion by Dawn. Support from Steve.
I was smiling because Amy was going to give a quick update, but there's no changes to it. So
Okay.
I asked her to. We didn't know. No changes.
Okay, no changes to the course proposal we reviewed last night.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. We have a motion on the table. Questions or comments from the board? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you, Amy. Okay, next we move on to human resource items. Ann, I'm going to give us, we'll
I'm actually going to hand off a couple things, so that's great. So if I could have Ryan Creek join me really fast. We have a couple mid-year retirements this year, and I just felt, tis the season. So I thought it'd be great to go ahead and honor those retirees now. instead of waiting until June, and then in June we'll retire. We'll celebrate some more people. So I would like Ryan to say a few words about Kyle Debniak, who is retiring. Kyle, you can stand up.
Hello, everyone. Great to see you. It is with mixed emotions. Kyle and I have only had the privilege of getting to know each other for the last few months as I've transitioned over to Baldwin. But Kyle has served our district for 15 years as a classroom teacher and 3 years prior in other roles in the district. Her students speak extremely high of her. In fact, our students are preparing some wonderful surprises for next week to celebrate Mrs. Debniak and her service to them and to our school. So we are going to dearly miss her. She is with us tonight, and we wish her the best. She gets to spend a little more time as a grandmother and in warm, sunny places down south. And but we will miss just her love, her empathy for kids, and her passion for teaching at Baldwin dearly. Congratulations.
And we have 2 high school teachers. Jean, okay, I think Jean's here, hiding back there. With Joy Essenberg and Jane Vanderheuvel. So I'm going to let Jordan take us.
When this is done, Jane, I'm coming back there for a hug, just so you know. I haven't seen you in a while. So Jane and Joy ended at the end of first trimester. So it's been a few weeks since I've seen you, Jane, so it's great to see you. So thank you for your 23 years of service to Hudsonville Public Schools. Jane served as a resource teacher here at the high school upstairs in the main campus. What I always enjoyed most about being up in your classroom in the resource suite area was how familial of an atmosphere it was. I knew there was going to be laughter if I visited, even if it was paired with a little nudge or tough love for somebody that needed extra help on a U.S. history assignment. I know your students will miss your kindness most, Jane. You cared for them, you always provided the best atmosphere. And though I was only able to work with you a few short years, I want you to know that I feel blessed to have been able to do so. I'll miss your warm greetings and smile. I hope you're not a stranger around here. Thank you again, Jane, for all you did for your students. We really wish you the best in retirement. So, Jane, thank you. And Joy is unable to be here tonight, and she's been a consistent presence in the business department here for 26 years. I never had her as a teacher, but I do remember seeing her often here in the front hallway where her old classroom was. I appreciate her flexibility as she was a business teacher that taught business technology courses, so she taught dozens and dozens of different courses as that changed throughout her 26 years here. So I appreciate that collaboration with the business department, ability to be flexible. Thank you, Mrs. Essenberg, for all you did for your students. And again, she couldn't be here tonight, but she asked that we share some thoughts with the board. So here's what Joy asked us to share. Please relay to the board members my appreciation for their hard work. Our schools continue to need their focus, patience, and guidance. My years at Hudsonville will always be remembered fondly. As I look back, I smile and feel blessed to have had the opportunity to work with the students, staff, and administration and parents of Hudsonville. Again, my sincere thanks, along with my continual prayers for our students and parents, staff, administration, and the ongoing efforts of the school board. So thank you again to both Jane and Joy. We wish you all the best. Congrats.
If I could ask Jane, you can't leave yet, you can give a hug, but then if you can come down here, and Kyle, if you can come down for just a second.
And while they walk down, I want to remind both of you that after 30 days, you can still sub in the district. And we would love
We have a small token of appreciation for both of you. So this is a small token of appreciation on behalf of the board and the district. And I would show it to you. It's a box. It does have a bowl in it with their name on the bottom, Hudsonville Public Schools and years of service. So we appreciate both of you, what you've done. Thank you for your time. You will be missed, and I know that that is a very well-earned smile on your face, knowing where you stand right now. So congratulations to both of you, and thanks again for everything.
I'm going to go shake this guy's hand.
We do have one more human resource item, but I am actually going to hand it over to Dr. Vanderjack.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Armstrong. This is an exciting night for two people in the room. Number one, I want to thank once again Mr. Andy Secor for all his work at Jamestown Upper. He's been there several years and has a tremendous staff, that really have been pulling at him to make him stay at Jamestown Upper. So he left some big shoes to fill. But tonight, I am just thrilled to recommend the next principal of Jamestown Upper. I would like to thank Ann Armstrong, Amy Taylor, Andy Thomas, Pat Briggs, Mackenzie Stefanich, several staff members from Jamestown Upper that were involved in this process, which was quite a detailed process. We started with mid-year to have 26 candidates applying for a job was something we wanted to make sure we had the right fit. Very exciting. Some very talented people from all around the area. Somebody came in actually from Indianapolis. That was a rock star. And we narrowed it down to 3 finalists, and those 3 finalists spent the day at Jamestown Upper, spending time with kids, teaching kids, working with kids, talking to staff. It was just fun to watch them in that environment. Then they had a final formal interview, and then we spent a lot of time deliberating because you can't hire them all, but we're very excited to recommend tonight Jeremy Verwise. Jeremy comes to us most recently from Cedar Springs Public School System, where he is an administrator in Cedar Springs, taught for several years at the middle school and elementary level, middle school teacher of the year, a couple years when he was at Cedar Springs. We did have contact with Cedar Springs regarding them losing him, and they did not agree to him coming down here. But I told them that's up to Jeremy to try to navigate and go from there. So we are still working with them. We understand we have a passion for our kids and a focus on our kids, but we also have a passion for all kids in Western Michigan. And he'll be working closely with his administration upon approval, if approved. Sorry, Jeremy, it's up to these guys, not me. To what that transition looks like. We'd like to get them into Jamestown Upper as soon as possible to work with the kids and the staff. Currently, as Mr. Secor has been working 2 roles, Mr. Feenstra has been helping out at Jamestown Upper. We thought Mr. Feenstra at Jamestown Lower would be crazy just because of, no offense, Mrs. Stefanich, he's bigger than both of you. He's a great guy, he's a big teddy bear, right? So, but he's at Upper right now, and all I know is he goes to Costco to buy candy for all the kids. So I don't know if that's really but he's having a blast working at Upper. So, but he can't stay. We'd like to recommend tonight that Jeremy Verwise takes over as the principal at Jamestown Upper, and then work on the transition plan from there. So that is our recommendation this evening.
Okay, we're going to take 2 motions here. The first one, I'd like a motion, please, that the board reluctantly approve and recognize the following certified staff retirements as presented by Ann Armstrong, Kyle Debniak, Joy Essenberg, and Jane Vanderheuvel. And again, please note reluctantly approve and accept. Motion by Dawn Sneeden.
You have to stay if they don't.
If we don't get a second, you gotta stay. Sorry.
She already left,
Yeah.
by the way.
She already, well, okay. Is there a second? Support. Okay, support from Steve Bowerman. Again, thank you so much for all your years of service, Mark and Kyle. I've had a couple of kids go through Kyle, I think more than a couple probably. And so we appreciate so much your service and look forward to, still seeing you around the district, but wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you. You know what, it's been lovely. It's been wonderful. It's the best thing I ever did for myself, go back to school and be a teacher.
Yeah.
So, but it's time now. I got grandkids. They're coming out of everywhere.
Yeah, I know Mark will enjoy having you around more as well. I know that too. So, okay, we have a motion on the table. Can I have all in favor of the motion, please say yes?
Yes.
No? You can say no, too. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. All right, next, we'll take a motion that the board approve Jeremy Verwise, am I saying that right? Verwise, as a Jamestown Upper Elementary principal, as reviewed by Dr. Vanderjack. So moved. Motion by Chad Tuttle.
Support.
Support from Barb Hooper. Questions, comments? for Jeremy? What we got him here tonight? Jeremy, raise your, I think it's you. Yeah,
Stand
that's
up.
what I thought you, yeah, I think I know it was you, so. Okay?
Bald guy, you don't recognize.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Welcome, Jeremy. It's great to have you as part of the Hudsonville family. Helping us to continue our tradition and our expectations of excellence, academic excellence, and performance. So great to have you on the team. We look forward to having you here driving Jamestown for years to come. Okay, all right, that's all the action items we have this evening. We move on to report items. And first up is administrative updates. So who would like to kick us off? Ian does, okay.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Can you grab the mic, Mrs. Armstrong?
Mhm.
And then you can pass it around. Thank you. She's gonna
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my update is that we continue to have COVID in the district, and I don't, I'm not saying that lightly. I just mean that one of the things that we approved earlier in September was a COVID coordinator, and that we were able to hire someone and get some extra support. And one of the things that I am so happy that we chose to do, you know, kind of Dr. Munajak said, you know, Ann, Ashley, would you guys, you know, get trained to test? And we have. And so our staff, we've been able to keep staff teaching and keep staff driving buses and you know, cleaning buildings and serving food and helping kids because we have been the test center since last February. And it has just been such a positive thing, and I'm so thankful that staff utilizes it. And I just, huge shout out to my admin assistant, Ashley Vaughn, who has tested a lot of people, and her and I have gotten to know staff in all new ways, let me tell you. And so I just am so glad that staff has utilized that program, and now we have extra help. So thank you very much for approving that position, because, you know, Mr. Tuttle, it's here to stay for a while. So we are continuing to try to keep our staff and students as safe as possible by keeping sick people out and healthy people here and school running. So that's my update.
Good evening, Dawn Herma at Park Elementary. I was thinking about what to share tonight. There's so many great things happening at this time of the year academically, but the things that I think a lot of us will talk about is connected to kind of the holiday season. So we were fortunate enough Tuesday night to have our holiday program, which we didn't get to have last year, and it was so fun to be back at the church with all of the kids. We noted one silver lining of COVID. We did by grade level this year, and such positive feedback from parents because they could actually get a picture of their kid on the stage so they could find them. They were not so jammed together, worked out great. But it was really neat just to see the progression from kindergarten through 5th grade. It stood out to me so much that by 5th grade we had kids doing a round with ukuleles and other instruments and dancing and singing all at the same time. And so a huge shout out to our music program and Erin Bauman in particular, who's the music teacher at Park. The other holiday thing that I'm proud of at Park is the staff really takes on the service project aspect of who they are during this season, and each grade level does something uniquely kind of connected to what they're interested in. Our 5th grade team is working with Harbor Home, I think is the right name of it, where, but it really spoke to them because those are adults with some disabilities and connected to some of the students in our building who have disabilities. It really spoke to them. So they're doing a big project to resupply their games and things they haven't had access to because of COVID. And another one, we have quite a few, but the other one that I thought was really fun was our 2nd grade team. They are crazy dog people. So they are doing a donation for the Humane Society but then they are going in the evening with all of their students and they're reading to the dogs, which I thought was really funny. And I'm excited to get some videos of our sweet kids reading to dogs. What's more motivating than that? So lots of fun holiday stuff.
Good evening, board, everyone. Much of the same things that Dawn talked about. We had our Christmas program on Tuesday as well, and it was just great because we didn't get to have that last year. Similar, our music teachers, Amber Bretz and Angie Reynolds, just did an amazing job. It was so cool seeing the 6 different grades go through. The kids did a fantastic job. Parents had a wonderful time there. That was great. This time of year, we also have our holiday shop at school, which the kids really love going through there and buying gifts for their relatives and for brothers and sisters and everything. And I talked to one parent today that there was a lot of gifts that were from the student to the student. So she bought some for herself, which I think is just great too, that she recognized all her own hard work. This time of year also brings about just lots of just things for students. There's just so much going on for them. A lot of times during the school day, they're a little tired, not quite on their best behavior sometimes, so it brings about some challenges. A little anecdote for that this week, had a little kinder down in my office to talk about a bad mistake he made with another student with being a little physical and rough, and so we were talking about that, and he looks at me, he says, Mr. Walde, he goes, I really got to get back to my classroom. My reading lesson's going on. That's really important. And I told him, I said, I know it is, but me keeping the students all safe in the building, that's very important too. So let's talk about this. He goes, I know, but my reading lesson is more important. So, I don't always love the mask, but sometimes it really helps hide a smile when you're trying to be a little stern with the kids. So that was great. But.
Hi, board. Mackenzie Stefanich from Jamestown Lower. We had our Santa sale today as well, and not having that for a couple of years just made it such a joy this year, having the kids shop. And I think the greatest benefit of that Santa sale is having all of our parent volunteers in the building again, and we've just missed seeing all of our families, and I know that our families have missed interacting with our students. So it was a joy to watch the parents shop with kids and then to wrap their gifts. I see one of our parent volunteers here. Thank you, Kate. She was busy wrapping all afternoon. And it was just such a great experience for the kids, but also for our families to be able to be physically in our buildings again. So kind of piggybacking off of that, for our holiday celebrations, we have to limit how many parents can come into the building. And if you've ever been to an elementary school during a holiday celebration, you know that if you have 22 kids in a class, you probably have 39 parent volunteers show up. And so since we can't welcome that many people into our building this year, we're going to do caroling, cookies, and hot cocoa outside so that we can invite our families, and we're all just going to bundle up and get a little portable speaker out there and jam out to some holiday songs and have fun with our families. So we're just really looking forward to finding more creative ways to get families and volunteers into our building.
Good evening. One of the things that I thought I would highlight tonight is just one of the ways that our special education department has really grown is our understanding and our use of communication devices to support students who rely on them to be able to communicate their wants and needs. And I was speaking with a speech pathologist today, and she was remarking just that over the course of 6 years, we've grown in having 3 students who are users of this device and use them consistently throughout their day to this year we have over 30 students who use communication devices in that way. And what that means for staff is we have now over 50 staff members who are trained in the ability to navigate these. And I think the comparison really is, if you think about how difficult it is for adults to learn a second language, that's essentially what we're doing. We're kind of putting the pieces together to understand a new way to communicate so that we can facilitate that for the students. So we currently have one of our staff members who dedicates about 15 hours to go across the district to support staff, students, and families in this area, and I think it's just a really great pride point for our department because it's not a service that all districts are able to provide. The other thing I thought I would highlight is that one of our social workers was selected to be the keynote speaker of the Michigan Association of School Social Work Conference this fall. Lisa Dykstra presented on the Nurturing Heart approach, which is just a method to support challenging or complex behaviors. She did such a fantastic job that other districts have reached out to ask if she would also come to their districts to provide professional development. To provide kind of an extension to that too, she is offering Nurturing Heart parent training, and that's a course that parents can sign up through the community education website, and she's offering that on various evenings throughout the month of January. So just a cool opportunity for parents. Thanks.
Andy Secor from Jamestown. Welcome to both of our new staff members. It's about 10 years ago I became a head principal for the first time, and while I was in my building there was this awesome technology-driven teacher that connected great with students. And I was fortunate enough to think, oh my gosh, my first year as a principal I get to have this awesome teacher in my school. And now that teacher is sitting next to me, taking the position that I'm leaving. So it's a pretty neat kind of world of education in the way that that works. You harbor a little bit of guilt for leaving your team and your students during the middle of a school year, but I think the fact that we had 27 people apply, the fact that the finalists were so talented, and then that we're fortunate enough to have Jeremy take that position, I think speaks to what people think about Hudsonville. And then I think the last thing for me tonight is just the things that teachers do, right? Like, I have teachers this week who just in passing, not even making it a big deal, shared with me how they talked to a parent who wasn't able to get their students to school. And I won't speak to exactly how they made sure they get to school because I want to keep things compliant, but they made sure that those students got to and from school every day this week. We have another teacher whose student is having a lot of separation anxiety. So the teacher is coming into school, unlocking a room, bringing her own students in there to meet with that student so the student feels more safe and comfortable coming into school. So I know every one of my colleagues could probably share 10 of those things, I think, but once in a while when you look around, it just hits you with all the extra things that teachers are doing, I think, especially around this time of year.
Good evening, board. Jeremy Verwise, longtime employee of Hudsonville. I actually just want to speak very quickly to the process to get here tonight and just how impressed I was with the stakeholders that were involved. It was so impressive to have so many different stakeholders as part of the interview process, from teachers to paras to members of this team to parents. And it was rigorous and it was tough, but that's what you want. And it does speak to the passion of Hudsonville and the excellence. So I am humbled to be sitting here having gone through that and have been chosen, and I'm excited to get to work with this team, so thank you.
Good evening. The update that I'd like to share this evening, I think I mentioned briefly last month, but we're continuing to put together our opportunity for professional learning, our next early release, which will be January 28th. And that is an opportunity for our staff to participate in what we're calling Eagle U. So it's an ed camp style professional development where we are going to be surveying staff about the topics that they might like to learn about. And then we are also going to be asking staff who might have some level of ability to facilitate dialogue and learning around particular topics, or actually present new learning for staff. And so we've found in the past that that's highly engaging for teachers to be able to choose what they want to learn about. It also continues to build that strong sense of community that sometimes we have kindergarten teachers sitting next to AP Calc teachers during the same training. We know that when we're talking about instruction, which is the focus of the professional learning coming up on January 28th, a lot of times those best instructional practices do transcend all grade levels. And so it becomes a very powerful way to provide professional development. Looking forward to it.
Good evening, just a couple quick updates from South. This is one of the times of the year where opinion papers are hot in certain grade levels because that's the genre that our teachers are teaching. And so when I come to work every day, on top of never knowing what I'm really going to be doing, I never know what opinion paper will show up on my desk. And so we have requests for longer recesses, longer lunches, advanced math classes in 3rd grade would be another one that came up. So it's exciting to see kids put real life and their skill sets together when they have a real audience. That puts me on the spot because then I need to be authentic and follow up, because if I don't follow up, when I'm in the hallways or I'm in the cafeteria, you can be sure that those kids will hunt me down, find me, and continue to ask their opinion questions until they get an answer. So it is fun to watch kids put those pieces together. And also, just on a lighter side, to note that what our teachers do has a greater impact sometimes than what they really realize. You've heard enough from me to know that I look for humor every day. That's part of one of my goals. And so I asked a couple of first grade kids when we were in the cafeteria the other day if they had any good jokes for me or whatever. And one of the first graders said, well, I have a riddle for you, Mr. Hegel. And I said, all right, I'll give it a try. And he said, oh, what has 2 E's in it but only says E? And I was already stumped at that point because there are a lot of vowels, and I went math science in my undergraduate work, and he said, it's E. You get it? The vowel team, E-E. And so that was his joke and his riddle, that he had taken the phonics lesson and created his own riddle out of it to teach me that the E-E vowel team just says E. So you never know how kids put that learning together and find ways to be creative to share it with others, including their administrator.
Early childhood has also been busy. One item I just want to share, we have a early childhood teacher, Wendy Harmon, who reaches out every year if she can to Adam Davis, the orchestra, really the guy over there. And he sent over 14 seniors to play their instruments for our students today. We had about 65 students that were in the cafeteria listening to a variety of Elsa, Anna, Christmas music, and a few other things. And it was just a really neat thing. They really enjoyed the kids getting ready, even just watching them tune their instruments. And so it was just a great opportunity for the bigs to be with the littles and have some of those experiences. And so I just love that partnership for them. The other thing that we've got coming up in January and then again in March, April, will be swimming lessons. So we, with Elizabeth the Box and her swimming lesson high school students, will bring some of our preschool students over and we'll do a week of swimming lessons. It's really a neat opportunity for our kids to get paired up with a big or 2 bigs, and they practice some things. Some of our kids are really comfortable in the water and others are not, and so it's a great opportunity for some of those partnerships. So those are kind of the things that are something I wanted to share tonight.
Josh Mearsma, Bauer Elementary. We kicked off the holiday program season. We were first last week on the 30th, and I played Santa in a couple of acts, and that was very interesting for me. I've never donned a Santa suit. It was very disgusting because the hair gets in your mouth, and the kids, when they saw me off stage, their eyes, when they looked at me, it was really kind of cute. You know, they don't know what to make of it, and I'm just thankful to be a part of that process, and seeing Mrs. Van Rice put that together in such short time. She only sees the kids once a week, really, and it was special. It's an extracurricular activity that we sponsor through the school that is something where kids come together, work together, put teamwork, and then this beautiful performance. It's really special. I was thankful to be a part of it. Last night, the Bauer staff went to Hudsonville Lanes, and we had a little Christmas shindig, and that was great. If you recall, I was hired at an interesting time, and then shortly after I was hired, we had COVID. And so getting to know my staff and being a part of that was kind of weird. It felt strange. And just growing in that role and getting to know these folks and seeing the wonderful things that they do on a daily basis and sharing out of school time with them is special. Lastly, I would just echo what Andy says. The things that teachers do, you can't really capture in an evaluation. This time of year, we're in a testing window, benchmark testing, and teachers, when you work with people, it's hard to measure that growth because you're implementing curriculum daily, you're doing all the right things, but are you really going to get the growth, the metric at the end of the road? And teachers are sharing their excitement as they see data come back from testing that their kids are growing, and it's just, it's very rewarding for them, and I love to see that because they do invest incredibly beyond just academics, but really in the relationships that drive those learning metrics. So I'm proud to be a part of that at Bauer.
Good evening again. Mark, my math science background is also, I'm wrestling with that riddle. I don't quite see the funny in it. Yeah, I know. I'll have to ask my son tonight when I get home. He's in kindergarten. So, you know, a lot of great things happening at Baldwin. We had our band concert last night here at the freshman campus, orchestra on Sunday, and choir next week, Wednesday, I believe, Tuesday. Thank you, Keith. But just a lot of really great things this time of year. We're looking forward to next week's Spirit Week. We have a lot of fun events planned for our kids and for our staff as well, just to celebrate the holiday season and rejuvenate a little bit before we go on a break and come back re-energized for the rest of the school year. So one of the things that we've implemented this year at Baldwin with our SOAR awards and our PBIS initiative, we've created a little collection box in our main office. So each Friday we recognize 6 students for soaring and their excellence in school, not only academics but behavior, and just being role models for other kids. And the students have reached their first mark, which for them is great news. For me means some humiliation next week. So I will be getting a pie in the face at every lunch next Friday to celebrate just the awesomeness of our kids, and looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun, and our kids are super excited for Spirit Week. And to echo everybody, our staff have been awesome. Especially, it's been a tough couple weeks with what happened over in Oxford, Michigan, and just reassuring our kids, our families, and our staff that we got this. We've got great people that take care of kids, and it's just been awesome to see the support, because our middle schoolers certainly are wrestling with trying to understand all of that, and it's really reassuring to go home at night and know that we have great staff taking care of our kids and great families supporting our kiddos at home and sending them to us ready to learn. So thank you to everyone.
Thanks, Ryan. Jordan Beal here from the high school. I'll echo a little bit of what Ryan said, because it does seem like the last week and a half, or since last week Tuesday, that certainly has been on the forefront of everyone's minds, certainly at the high school level. And with 2,100 kids here in the building, and 4 assistant principals and myself, plus our great security team, we do our very best to make sure this place is as safe as it possibly can be. But there's also always that unknown, and that's something that you kind of have to wrestle with when things happen so close to home. Our guidance staff has been phenomenal. Our teaching staff, I want to say, has been phenomenal in dealing with and helping students kind of cope with some of that reality. So that's definitely been something that's weighed heavy on all of our hearts. I appreciate taking a moment of silence to start our meeting tonight, Mr. Hall, because it's important to remember and recognize how hard that must be for that community. So it has been something that has affected the high school here this week. But again, our staff is amazing, and we do our very best to keep this place safe and to reassure our kids and help our students that struggle. So that has been something that we've definitely dealt with recently. Now, on to next week, much like the rest of the buildings, we want to focus on some holiday cheer. We've got a lot coming up in terms of concerts with orchestra on Sunday, band and choir next week, our own Spirit Days next week, where our high school students can hopefully have a positive experience leading up to Christmas break. I want to welcome real quickly our new members of our team. Stephanie and Jeremy, I think you're really going to enjoy working with this group. We work hard and we do important work, but we have a lot of fun doing it. We enjoy each other, so welcome. But other than that, I want to just thank the board for your support, and wish everyone a happy holiday season. It's a really fun time here at school. You know, other than the heavy things we've been dealing with, we're going to focus on the positive and be here for our kids every day, and that's thanks to a really great staff. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, Bill Ross, principal at Riley Street Middle School. I want to just give thanks to our teaching staff and to our parents at Riley Street for a minute. One goal we set as a staff this year was to stay committed and connected to our students who couldn't be with us. Not those kids that choose not to be with us, but the impact of COVID has had an impact on learning. And the idea of a child can't be in our classroom or in our building for a period of time, upwards of 2 to 3 weeks at a time, you know, we made a commitment as a staff that we were going to stay connected and committed. Connected, making sure that they're continuing to learn, so upon return that they are at the same pace or at the same learning level as their classmates. And probably more important is the connection part, this idea when a student can't be with their teacher and their classmates, just saying hello or making a phone call to say, you were missed today. Or sometimes bringing them into the classroom via a telephone call or through virtual meets. It's made all the difference in the world for our kids that just can't be with us for periods of time. Another group I want to thank is our Riley Street parents. We've got great kids at Riley Street because of their parents. Tonight I've got 25 parents volunteering as coaches on our Science Olympiad team, 15 parents that are at the Grand Rapids Civic Theater with our choir tonight. It's at a field trip down there. And just something I'm really proud of, over the last month, I've probably taken 24 phone calls from parents to say, do you have a family or a student we can help? And these are parents that I've connected with other families, and they're going to provide resources and support for the holidays. So just, again, it speaks to just the quality of the teachers we have in this district and the parents that we have. So just, again, thank you to our parents and to our teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just continuing with the theme, especially Bill and Jordan brought that home. Just thanks to our parents, thanks to our staff, but it just, especially in my position, a lot of my colleagues have been, I don't know, maybe lamenting the days off that have been missed with students. And there's different circumstances in every district, in every county, but Hudsonville just continues to be a leader in keeping kids in school. You saw that in those days leading up to Thanksgiving. There were schools in the area, and I know Dr. Vanderjack was working real hard with the health department. There were, just those days when, are you going to close? Are you having too many cases here? And with Ann's work, with getting us enough subs, the principal's work with and the teachers of filling in, it's just really uplifting to be in Hudsonville and to be able to have school for kids. I mean, that maybe years ago that wouldn't be such a amazing, like, man, I'm proud, but now it's a big deal. And now it's a big deal for the parents. I just feel the appreciation for the parents that we are there, that they're there for the students and we're able to support them. So it's a great place to be.
Great, thank you everyone. It's great to hear the updates, what's going on in the buildings and with the central office staff. We very much appreciate it, and again, like to hear these updates. It's good we're back to those. Okay, next up is superintendent report.
Thank you. I would like to talk a little bit about where we are when it comes to safety and security of our district. There's a lot going on, as you can imagine. The last week and a half has been very challenging on our staff, our community, our parents. It's not been easy. We look at a district on the other side of the state, and it's getting closer and closer to home. I would say a mirror district to Hudsonville on the other side of the state. I do want to especially thank our administrative staff for shouldering a lot of this. A lot at the high school, Mr. Beal and your staff, the middle schools, Mr. Preet, Mr. Ross, all of our elementary principals. There's just been a lot going on. This is a time where we are often in the thankful mood and the exciting mood about, Christmas break is coming. Not every student looks forward to Christmas break. Because a lot of kids, this is their safe place, is school. And we recognize that. And we celebrate those families that want to take care of other families. And we have such a loving community that wants to reach out and help each other out. And that is truly, it's just a blessing to be in this community and in this district. I do know that our teachers are under a great deal of stress. We added a component onto COVID and onto several other issues that we may be working through, and then safety and security became it really came to the forefront. And as I've said before, safety and security will always be our #1 priority. There's not, we talk about whether it's portable classrooms or construction projects, we will do everything we can to keep our kids safe. I can tell you, last week we had a meeting, an update regarding construction, and our focus was whatever we can do to get the connection done between the high school and the freshman campus, do it as soon as possible. We want to keep our kids indoors, we want to keep them safe. So they are pushing hard to update that schedule. I can't give you, I'm optimistic, Pat's realistic, our construction people are cautious. We want to get it open. We did meet with our administrative team last week, Thursday, and spent a lot of time talking about safety and security. All of our building leaders, and under the direction of Mike Petrolia from a safety standpoint, as well as Jeff Steckendale with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department, came and spent time with our staff, our administrative staff, and they then in turn met with their staff in their buildings to talk about safety, security, and training that we've gone through. We continue to have conversations about our practices and procedures. We are not truly in the stage of quickly doing drills right now, just because our kids, it's a little hard to do drills right now, but having those conversations is extremely important. We continue to update our plans based on whether it be county guidance and or regional guidance. I would love to go through some of those details, but most of those details regarding safety and security take place at a confidential level within the buildings for the sake of safety and security. We have talked extensively with parents about the safety measures that we have in place. Ideas that parents have, they brought to us. We continue to explore all ideas. There is no idea that's not on the table that we don't want to explore. When somebody they've heard about this mechanism that works on a door, or what they have with alarms, or we will look at anything we can to make sure kids stay safe. So we've been continuing to do that all week this week, and we'll continue to do so to keep our kids safe. We are implementing tabletop exercises with our buildings. Sometimes tabletop exercises are the best way for us to figure out what areas we can strengthen and improve in communication, whether it be signage in the building, whether it be training with our students, with our staff. I think you saw at Oxford High School the amazing training that they had gone through, potentially saved many lives. I don't know the details, but I do know that our hearts go out to that community, to that high school. I can't imagine what they're going through, and I definitely keep them in my thoughts and prayers on a regular basis. I do want to thank our security staff, of which we did not have, thanks to the board for approving that a few years ago. Knowing that we have more adults in the building that are listening to kids and getting a chance to know kids and read kids, that has been very helpful. We do know that our biggest ally still will be our kids. And when they say something, when they see something, we ask them to say something. And they have been. And that leads me into really the next topic. We have had some concerns with potential, I would say, threats on the high school. And I'm going to be very transparent about what transpired. On Monday evening, we received late at night an online threat to the high school that was posted the previous day that said, "Don't come to school tomorrow," which would have been Monday, and we did not get the threat until Monday close to midnight. If we would have received the threat the night before, I can assure you we would have taken corrective action to make sure our kids were safe. Most of you know, I have a son in this building, and I care about all 2,100 kids. I would never put any of our kids in jeopardy by being in school. Thankfully, we worked closely with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department, Mr. Beal. We were on the phone, Full transparency, I was in stage 4+ of REM at some point when the phone rang after being called a couple times. But when we talked, it's like, okay, what do we need to do? Went right into action. Ottawa County Sheriff's Department went right to the house of where the potential was coming from, had conversations, cooperation, and felt that everything was 100% fine and notified us immediately. We were then on the phone again at about 4:30 in the morning to continue the conversation to make sure nothing had changed in the last 4 hours. At no point did I feel that our students, nor did Ottawa County feel that there was any safety measures that could have taken place, primarily because the threat was over 24 hours old and then went from there, which is substantially different to what transpired in mostly Muskegon County and with Zeeland and Grand Haven that were dealing with something similar that was out of state and they didn't know who it was. We knew right away who it was, and it was addressed with a squad car at the house within about 20 minutes. We've also dealt with several comments from students that have had questions when they hear things from other kids in class, and we've dealt with those swiftly. I will tell you that we will not take any of these lightly. We have several discipline hearings that will be coming to me in the next several days. We will not tolerate students that want to put our students in danger or intimidate or scare them into coming into school. We will treat them and work with Ottawa County and work with the prosecutor's office and prosecute to the full extent of the law to keep our kids safe, period. That is our #1 priority. Academics is extremely important, don't get me wrong, but safety and security of our buildings and our students will always take priority. So that's a little bit of an update. We are continuing conversations regarding training of our staff, of our administrative staff, in combination with the work that's being done in Ottawa County. We've had several meetings with superintendents in Ottawa County this week. We will continue them next week and actually through Christmas break as we continue these conversations. On a lighter note, I do want to thank our principals for all their programs that are going on. I've had a chance to go to Georgetown. I'm not saying who was or was not dressed as Santa, but it looked a lot like Mr. Waldy. Got a chance to go to Bauer, got a chance to go to Park. I know that tonight we have Allward and Forest Grove have their Christmas programs tonight. I know Jamestown has some next week. It's exciting with choir concerts the next week and orchestra, band, things we couldn't do last year. It's just exciting to see people just excited to see their kids. And the kids are so fired up, they have so much energy. It's just an exciting, if you haven't had a chance to go to any one of the elementary programs, you can stand in back for 5 minutes and feel the energy and realize that what we are doing for kids is a good thing. And these kids love it. It's just exciting. So thanks to our administrative team. I wish all of you a wonderful holiday season. I know we have 6 more days of school. I've had plenty of questions about snow days. I will tell you this, the snow we got the other day, the whole inch, and the kids are like, that's plenty, you gotta call it. And I'm like, all right, we need a little bit more than that. We do want our kids in school. We like seeing our kids in school. But I also realize that they would love a snow day. I get that part too. And I'm pretty sure when I got new tires on my car, my son talked to them putting ball tires on, because it is pretty, my car right now, for some reason, is fairly slippery up there. So anyway, that's my update.
All right, great, thank you. Again, we can't say thank you enough to the administrative team for all that you're doing during this challenging time, but also rewarding time as we have the concerts and the Christmas programs and so on and so forth. So thank you. Okay, we move on now to recognition of visitors and hearing of people present. So Rebecca's down in front. She'll call the first couple of people who are scheduled to speak, and we will move forward. So a reminder, 3 minutes for each speaker. Dr. Vanderjap will get the timer up here. A moment.
While he's getting that ready, our first speaker this evening will be Lee.
Hold on a second. Just turn it on.
So our first speaker this evening will be Lee DeHuff, and following Lee will be Keith Leyendecker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lee DeHuff, and I have an assignment for the Board of Education tonight. I'd like to give you a test. I'd like you to answer these questions. And all of these questions have their answers in this instruction manual. What does this instruction manual say about where everything in the universe, including ourselves, comes from? Question number 2. What does this manual say about gender identity? Question number 3. What does the manual say about what marriage is? Question number 4. What does the manual teach about how human sexuality is to be expressed? Question number 5. What does the manual teach about the sanctity of life, especially the unborn? And let me give you a bonus question, too, for special credit, since this is an educational setting. Who does this instruction manual say is responsible for the education of children? Now, to help you to respond, I would point out that the progressives in this country have come up with wrong answers to each and every one of these questions. So if you know what they say, just say the opposite, and your answer will be correct. It seems to me that you've been talking about several instances where darkness has happened. A threat to the school, what happened in Oxford, Michigan, what's happening elsewhere in this country. Well, the answer is light. That's what you need. And that's what this book contains. And where light shines, the darkness disappears. This manual is light. So I encourage the Board of Education here to turn on the lights in Hudsonville schools. Be bold. Be the first in Michigan. Be the first in the United States to say, we want a foundation built on this rock, not a foundation built on sand. Finally, without blushing and without apology, I wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Great, thank you for your comments. Next, Rebecca.
We'd like to welcome Keith Leyendecker, and after Keith, we will welcome Mindy Vanden Heuvel.
Last month, Ken Hall and Pat Briggs both took the opportunity to praise Dr. Vanderjack for his strong push for in-person learning. I also think in-person learning is critically important. And so I will say thank you, Dr. Vanderjack, for pushing for in-person learning. But for many of us, in-person learning and having an administration that pushes for that is a base expectation of our administration. Many of us are here because we are concerned about behaviors we have seen from this administration that are far from what we expect. We are concerned about statements to parents that don't appear to match information uncovered through the FAO, Freedom of Information Act documents. We are concerned about statements to the community that don't appear to match the realities behind the scenes. And we are concerned that apparently even statements to board members from the administration haven't appeared to match reality. All these things give me and others great concern about the character of our administration. While great building projects and in-person learning are important to us, the character of our leaders is of far greater importance. So if you are a supporter of this administration and want to speak up here, speak to their character. Do they always tell the truth? Are they always clear and honest in their communication? Are they clear and open about their goals and objectives? Would you stake your reputation on their character? These are items of the utmost importance and concern, and I hope the board can keep the primary things clear in focus and not be distracted by the many things that are secondary to the character of our leaders. As we've talked about tonight, our world requires a lot of our administration and the leaders that lead our district. And it requires character primary to address those concerns. This information is out there for you guys to know and understand and to address, and I hope you guys do. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments.
We would like to welcome Mindy Vanden Heuvel, and next up would be Aaron Doobie.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Vanderjagt. I know that last time we were here, I didn't get to speak because I was a few minutes late, so I signed up super late to make sure I was one of the last speakers tonight, to make sure I got all those 3 minutes in. I know that last time you guys went into a closed session to do a superintendent evaluation and were gone for many hours. I was here until 9:15. I know that you didn't get back until a little after 10 and then are also going into closed session again today to evaluate that. I hope that you take what the community has said to heart. I know that you haven't had a ton of feedback except for the last year. There have been a lot of things that have gone on with transparency, with so many issues, like Keith talked about the character of our administration, about how it has changed since our new administration has been here. I know that you guys went in and extended Dr. Vanderjagt's contract before all of this came to light, and I find that sad. I wish we could take it back because there was no reason to open it up until his actual contract was up for review. You also extended his contract without the superintendent evaluation, which I think, Chad, as you would say, in a normal situation for a supervisor, you would need to evaluate your employee before you offer them extension or anything else. So I find that odd that you guys chose to do that. Some other issues I think are crazy. I think it's weird that you want to put everyone in the staff, their personal choices on display, whether they've decided to inoculate themselves or not by making them wear a mask. That is not okay. That is discrimination. That is not teaching our children anything positive. You have said before, Dr. Vanderjagt and Chad, when my daughter and I brought it up before in a meeting, that we would never do that in Hudsonville. We would never mask and unmask children based on their inoculation status. But yet, here it is, and you continue to go forward with it. It's not okay. It's not okay that the board is okay with it. It's not okay, the community is not okay with it. It's a personal choice, and it should not be on display. We don't worry or ask about flu vaccinations, tetanus shots. We don't ask any other personal questions, and you shouldn't force staff to make their choice a public thing as well. I would also love it if we could have a discussion. I went to the library board meeting, and it was so refreshing to talk to adults, to have them interact. We were on completely opposing sides of mature content that should not be allowed on shelves for our children to see. There was no mean things said. It was adult discussion, which we need. We need to be able to talk to each other and hear each other's opinions. I should be able to talk to Barb or to Larry or to Steve and have some sort of feedback. Coming up here and giving comment with nothing in return leaves us all empty.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
Aaron Doobie, please. And then next up would be Craig Steenstra.
Greetings again, board. No polo update this time because we're out of season officially, so we'll be back in a few months. I just want to quickly take a moment to thank you for your moment of silence here for Oxford. That was very well deserved and moving. And thank you to all of the board and the admin and everyone back here. This has been an incredible time, even with conversations I've had with children throughout that I'm connected to. This is a rough time. And you guys are, girls and ladies and everyone, are here on the front lines doing that hard work. So thank you for everything you're doing. This is, I feel like every time we have to say you guys are going above and beyond, and you are above and beyond by 10 different steps now at this point from any normal semblance of school and education. And the community sees that and recognizes that and thanks you for all of that work. So thank you, keep going. I know it can be rough. Just keep swimming if you want to go that route. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
Next up is Craig Steenstra, and following Craig would be Jennifer Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for some of your time tonight. I just wanted to spend some time as the Instructional Technology Director of the district. I have the privilege of working with people at all levels of our schools, and having worked at numerous districts prior to this, I can attest that our staff's dedication, care, and compassion is second to none. And I want to make everybody aware of that and reiterate that, to build on some of what our principals were saying. And to illustrate the point, I was with Patty Bowens, who is a veteran teacher at Allward, helping her to support her quarantine students. So imagine having 2 kids on Zoom, Google Meet, and having to plug in 4 different things and click 20 buttons so that she can see them and hear them and support them, rather than give them a packet of worksheets for them to work on, while supporting the 24 kids that are in front of her who are chatty, hormonal, pubescent, God knows what else, and trying to stay sane, all while keeping your microphone on and making sure it's not muted, right? So thinking of myself trying to have my 2nd grader do her math homework, I almost lose my mind. And she, as well as so many others in our district, are having to do that day in, day out, and they're doing it because they care, and they're doing it well. So that goes for just our teachers, not just for our teachers, but our office staff, our custodians, all levels who are having additional things put on their plates, and they're still continuing to care and to make things happen for their kids. So I commend them for that, and I hope that this helps you to understand more about what they're going through. And I ask anybody interacting with them to apply that same care and compassion that they're showing to their children, and to your children, to our children, to them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
And last up would be Jennifer Johnson.
Good evening. I'd just like to take a second and I'll answer your question. I absolutely would stake my reputation on anybody up here and anybody sitting here. They're tireless. They've taken months of vitriol from your side of this aisle. They have not said anything. They've been quiet. They've worked tirelessly for our kids, the parents, all the administration, the staff, everybody. You have my support. You have a lot more support than what is here. Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, and you and your families have a Happy New Year.
Thank you for your comments. And that's all we have, Rebecca?
That is.
Good. Thank you. Again, thank you for all your comments. We appreciate your input. And thank you. Okay. Before we move into closed session, just to note that we are back here on Monday the 13th already. We have moved that board meeting, and it is posted. That's been moved up to 5:30 because, as you heard, all the concerts and choir concerts, band concerts, and so on and so forth, that we moved that up to accommodate folks being able to attend some of those many activities going on in the district. So just some more information on that. Okay, if there is nothing else, we're good. Okay. All right, can I have a motion and, well, can I have a motion, please, and second to go into closed session for superintendent evaluation? Motion by Dawn. Support from Barb. And Larry, okay. Larry, sorry, Larry. Sorry. Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we are in closed session. I would anticipate an hour plus. Again, you're welcome to stay. Our plans are to come back and adjourn. We have no other items this evening. Again, you're welcome to stay until we come back, but I would anticipate we'll be in for a while. So with that, thank you everybody for attending, and we're in closed session now in meeting. I have a motion, please, to adjourn. A motion by Chad, support from Barb. All in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed no. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.